You want to meet the wizard?
Hell yeah.
you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourselves for the podcast?
My name is Andrew Collett. I play guitar in Grey Skies Over Rapture.
I'm Ben Claxton. I also play guitar in Grey Skies Over Rapture.
So tonight is the third and final night of the Symbiotic Metal Fest, which you guys opened up, and which I unfortunately missed because I was running extremely late. I'm sorry about that.
That's cool, man.
Good. We forgive you, bro. It's all good.
No worries, man.
How did the set go?
It went pretty well. We played some songs we hadn't touched in a while, but like it was okay, you know. Like yeah, it was fine. It was I thought it was a pretty good set, one of the better ones we've done.
It's always good when you open for a show. It's kind of like the responsibility is only to kind of like set the precedence for the rest of the night. It's a little bit tough playing to smaller crowds because not everyone's there and into it, but it was good fun. Yeah,
we're kind of used to that anyway, man. You know, we've been around for a long time, but like I don't think there's many people that know who we are. Like for some reason, like we don't have like a fan base as much, like people who constantly turn up. Like we just seem to play to different people every time. But of course, there's people who know where we are. So yeah.
Have you played this fest before?
No, this is the first year. We got invited last year, but the email got lost in like a spam thing, and it was like, by the time I got to it was too late. Basically.
How would you describe the music that you make?
Well, if you're talking like metal genres, I'd say probably closest to melodic death metal. Although we've done a lot of experimenting in the past. It's kind of like streamlined back towards death metal.
A lot of it's quite progressive as well.
Yeah, a lot of progressive sense. Like we don't write like conventional songs. We just try to write songs that we think are really cool. You know, like I do a lot of the writing, not all of it, but like a lot of it. So like I try to write it as a stream of consciousness. You know, like something that turns into something else. Like yeah, it's cool.
I got to listen to, I don't know if it's an EP or an album, but the first release that you guys did. Between Worlds. And
yep.
There was a moment where it turns into almost like a swing, kind of like rockabilly.
Groovy.
Yeah. That was in our early days. We definitely did a lot of genre mashing. And
very experimental.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, we were just... before we like became Grey Skies, like we were playing songs that were really different from each other. And then when it turned into Grey Skies Over Rapture, like I wanted to try to put everything together and just try to do everything. But then like people change and tastes change over the years, so like it started streamlining towards melodic death metal, but like it still has like resonance of like that experimentation. And we're really not afraid to try anything, you know, like there's still a lot of growing to do, and you know, still another album to come out too, so like that'll be good.
At least another one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the band history a little bit. What led to you guys forming?
Well, that's a good story, man.
Yeah, I think initially, so Andrew and I have been jamming together for what, like 8 years now?
Yeah, it's a long fucking time.
A very long time, and it was pure happenstance. I mean, we actually, way back in the day, did karate together.
What's karate?
Sato karate. Yeah, and Andrew saw me wearing one of my band t-shirts, and he came over, the kind of slightly awkward guy he was, and said, "Hey man," and just struck up a conversation. It's actually quite a funny story because he was already in a band called Paradoxial back at the time, so I actually went to audition for the band because they needed another guitarist. Back then I wasn't quite good enough, so I didn't make the cut.
No, yeah. And then later on, like, actually, no, that's actually not true. He came up and he was really good, but like I wanted it to be one guitar, and that band folded, and then I knew Ben, and then he was like fucking incredible. Like we'd played in a short band together actually. It was called Tools of Oppression or something like that. Yeah. We wrote like one song. And then like I hit him up like when that band folded, and I said like let's get a fucking band together, and I got the bass player from that old band, and then we put an ad out and we got this fella Brenton and Jake, and Brenton's long gone and Jake is still here. He's playing drums for us. He was a guitarist and he just picked up drums, and like so over the years Jake has just been like slowly turning into a monster, like you know who he is now, and it's really sweet. Yeah, and then so we went through a few incarnations and we picked up Richard on vocals probably about within like the first year after our first vocalist left, and he stuck. And then it was just really us four, and we went through a few different bass players, and then about 3 years ago we got Josh Murray. He's in another local band called Ovis as well, and by the way, if you guys are listening, check out Ovis on Facebook and YouTube. They're a really good like progressive instrumental band.
Insanely good progressive metal band.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So Josh was in them, but they were on break at the time, so Josh was like keen to do something, so he just ended up joining us, and it's just been solidly like that ever since. That's after we did Between Worlds, so he joined up and we wrote a whole lot of new shit with him, and so that's now, right now we're on like the cusp of doing a new album, so like that's going to be out soon. Yeah, sure man.
let's talk about that first release, Between Worlds. Do you consider it an EP or an album?
EP.
Yeah, for sure, an EP, man. It was meant to be an album, but we had to go back and re-record shit, and some of the drum tracks weren't working out, so we had to kind of cut songs, and they've kind of been lost in time, eh? So like,
I think because of like how experimental it was as well, like playing around with so many different things, we hadn't quite found our sound as far as what it is now anyway.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I think
man.
it does it more justice if it is just classed as an EP anyway, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He pretty much just said it, you know. There was a lot of work that went into that, and it was cool. But like then after that, we just straight away moved on and started writing new stuff, and it started getting a lot more on the more extreme side. We started focusing it more like it was. I think it was a little, for my taste, it was a little too experimental. So we decided like, oh, let's try to focus it a bit more, you know, like keep it a bit more together. Like, yeah.
And it's a bit more mature now as well because of that. Like the sound itself is far more decisive, you know, and you can almost more consistent as well. But at the same time, like unique in the sense is what Andrew was saying before. Like we don't necessarily have like a mad fan base or a following, but that's because as far as the band goes, we don't necessarily strive to fit a mold. You know what I mean? We literally just come together, all relatively different musicians stylistically, and then kind of the culmination of all that is just, you know, found to what it is now. So.
Yeah, we all come from very musically different backgrounds. Like we all like metal, but it's all different types of metal. You know how it gets, man. Like, you know, there's just so many different styles. But like, it's funnily just like slowly worked out over years. Like for some reason, we just kept getting together and practicing, and then it's just like turned into something that I'm really proud of it. You know, I really like it.
So that came out in 2015, right?
Yep.
And 2017, you guys put out, I don't know if it's a single or an EP.
That's a single.
Seven.
Seven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about Seven.
So Seven was a song that I wrote. It was kind of a personal song, and I wrote that over a couple of years, and I brought it to the band. And well, basically what had happened around the time is we had recorded an album that ended up being like kind of a pre-production, because it just we weren't like in control of what we were playing. So like the demos we ended up having were out of control, and that one missed the recording session. So we were like, oh, why don't we do a single? You know, like go into a studio and try to like you know, just like get something good. You know, we put like about $1,500 into that, and yeah, so we recorded Seven, and that was at the Armory here in Wellington. Really good studio, by the way. Great engineer. Like he gets a really good natural drum sound, like, and it sounds metal as hell. And we did that there, and so yeah, that single was really cool. There was a lot that went into it. We spent like over a month like rehearsing that song alone just to try to get it as good as possible. Because we like tracked it live. You know, we were just sitting in a room like hoping that we were gonna fucking get it right. But we did get there in the end, so it was good.
I mean, it's a 7-minute song, so if you mess up,
That's being re-recorded on our new album as well. If you want to ask questions about that later, if you want me to talk about it now.
Let's talk about it now.
Yeah, okay. So right now, back in June, we started tracking our full-length album. It's 8 songs. 7's been re-recorded for that album, and we basically did it ourselves. We bought our own gear and self-produced. And other than us, there's a fella up in Hamilton, Jake Booth, who's another New Zealand band called Team Kill. And he's going to mix and master it, and once that's done, it's back in our hands, and we'll get digital and physical releases sorted out. So there's still a little work to do, you know, just like the after stuff that tends to like take a long time. But yeah, it's very near completion. Yeah, and we're really excited to get it out too, and we'll let you know like when it's out too, man.
In terms of style, is it more or less along the same lines as Seven?
Seven's I don't know, what do you...
Seven's like such a, because it's obviously a long song as well, it was so emotionally driven too, like there were so many other things that went behind it than what it just is. All the songs sound really cohesive, but at the same time, Seven's kind of like the...
It's the black sheep, really.
It's the black sheep of the whole group in a really, really good way.
Yeah.
You know, but I'd say that all the other songs sound really cohesive. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, that whole Between Worlds EP was just about experimenting with us as musicians, seeing what kind of sound came together. And I feel like this, again, is one of the reasons we're quite excited about it, because like, it really is a culmination of all that. So it's a more consistent sound that people, I think we're both really excited, because we think truly people are really going to grasp towards it.
Yeah, it feels like, of everything I've done as a musician, like this is the thing I'm most proud of. Yeah. Like, I'm really keen to get this done. But you know, it's just the patience of like other people doing their shit, so you know. I've done my part, and then now I just sit back and wait. Yeah.
Do you guys self-release all your music?
Yeah, we have. I'm not really too sure about labels. Like, I've never like been offered anything from a label or like read a contract before. if somebody approached us, I think we'd be keen. But
Yeah,
we'd like
sure.
to like read into it and make sure that we're like going to get a good deal out of it.
I think the advantage of it would be the exposure it would give us to like maybe even the Australasian industry, you know what I mean? Like if you want to go over and play shows in Australia, for example, like you need to have connections and everything over there. So to go through a label, like I think Andrew and I both agree, we're not in it to like be billionaires, do you know what I mean? But if we could get connections by going through like a record label or something, hell yeah, we'd be open to it.
This is third night of the fest, but so far I haven't talked to a lot of bands from Wellington. What can you tell me about the scene here?
Well, the scene, the bands come and go. Right now, Scorner Creation are from Wellington. They're a very, very good death metal band. Those guys, they take it very professionally. They're signed to a New Zealand label called Dead Boy Records. We've signed to quite a lot of cool bands from New Zealand. They came on it straight away, like very professionally, you know, like the way that they present themselves, like
That's just it as well. They're so, and of course their music's phenomenal, but they're so good at marketing themselves. And I think that previously is something where we've fell down.
Yeah.
And that although we're all talented individuals, put together some bangers and tunes and everything, we're not the best at marketing ourselves. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like we're still the first band, so we're still like learning, and they're like obviously been in a lot of bands, so like they've learned from that. Other bands that are really cool from Wellington, there's a band called the Heathen Collective. Really cool, like groovy death metal along the lines of Sepultura, Machine Head. Another band, Order of Diptera, technical death metal, like very fucking disgusting sounding technical death metal. It's fucking
in
cool.
a great way, in a very, very good way.
Who else is there, man?
There's heaps of people, I suppose. Like if you were to summarise the scene, one of the really, really good things about Wellington, and probably New Zealand for that matter, is because it's such a small place. Like for example, tonight even we've got 2 bands from Auckland who have come down. Maybe one from Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
And the community just facilitates that sort of environment where people can come from around the country. So yeah, it's a really good kind of like scene to develop and expand, like get a taste of other scenes in the country.
One thing I'll say about just a few bands that I've heard from Wellington is there doesn't seem to be a sound around, like there's no Wellington sound like there was a Gothenburg sound, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Stockholm sound. Like all the bands are quite different from each other.
Yeah, it just seems to be like that. People just sort of come up with like, whatever they really want to do. There obviously have been trends through here. Like 7 years ago, there were a lot of like hardcore bands that
Heaps
were playing.
of hardcore bands.
Yeah, totally, man. Like, yeah.
We found ourselves always playing at hardcore gigs. Like, what the fuck are we
And
doing?
people
here?
just stand there, like they're not moshing. They're just looking at us like, what's going on?
Because as well as like in the music, you go to that kind of show to like dance, like throw down and shit. It's not really our kind of stuff. Our stuff isn't predictable in the way that you can.
Like I said earlier before the interview, but I'll explain that now. Like, Wellington has a really, really rich, musical like culture here. Like, they've got the jazz school and the classical school at university, so like you get all sorts of musicians coming out of there, and there's other music schools like Whitireia as well. Like, and like they're like a polytech. They're like not as advanced as uni, but like there's great musicians that have come from there. So many, and like they're always like mixing with each other. Like there'll be like some guy who's in like 5 bands, and then like a guy who's in 1 like me. It's so hard to explain, like, but definitely worth checking out. Like, go anywhere like where a band's playing, and it's pretty much guaranteed going to be awesome. Like,
nights like tonight, man, when you can pay $10 and see 8 bands.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, New Zealand's small, so it's a little incestuous. Like a lot of people, like our bass player is in another band, Ovis, that I mentioned earlier. Like, really great band, but we needed a bass player, and it's like, well, who the fuck plays bass? Like, and then Josh, he gets in there.
Stolen.
Yeah, totally. Now we have to share.
That is something I've noticed about bands. Maybe just this fest, but I've seen like 2 or 3 guys in 3 or 4 different bands, and it's never the same instrument. They're playing drums one night, they're playing guitar another night.
There's this one guy, Levi Sheehan, and he played bass in Vaga Frost. He played guitar in Order of Diptera. He was filling in for that. He played drums in Organectomy. He's a member, and he's playing drums in Caesar Conflict tonight. And like that guy's all around, like he's fucking incredible. I didn't know he played guitar till last year, and then he's like playing it better than me. Like, oh fuck.
I think
Shot Levi.
That's like testament as well to like how integrated the whole New Zealand music scene is.
Yeah.
Because these guys aren't necessarily all from the same city as well. But they fill in because it's that kind of community.
How many people in Wellington are actually from Wellington, and how many people moved here because of school or work or things like that?
My father was in the military, so I moved around a lot. But I came to Wellington when I was 13, so like I consider this my home. Like, even though I wasn't born here, like it's my home.
It's an interesting question as well. Like I'd say one of the things about the metal scene here is there aren't too many like younger people. Like there's not too many university students or people who are just like starting a band coming out of high school or anything like that. Like a lot of them, especially like Scorn of Creation, Order of Diptera, like they're all older guys who've been around doing it for quite a while.
Most of Diptera's from fucking South Island as well.
Yeah.
I think actually almost all of them, and then one's from Palmy. Like, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as people coming here, like the metal scene and what it's at the moment, it's in a really good place. But I think most of the people they're veterans, man. Like they've been around, they've been in bands for a while.
Honestly, thinking about it, I think that's what attracts people to Wellington is like there is a lot sort of going on here, and in Auckland too, and then Christchurch to an extent. That got ravaged from some earthquakes back in the day. But before then, like Christchurch was like very like it flourished with metal. There were so many metal bands down there. But yeah, as for Wellington, like I'd say a lot of people that have come here and play metal have come from like smaller towns, like where they were like just learned, and then like Josh is a prime example. Actually, he came from Levin and moved to Palmy, which was a bigger city, and he played to some metal bands up there, and then he came to Wellington to study, but then he ended up joining other bands. Yeah.
I started off at the jazz school, so.
Oh yeah, he did too. Yeah, that's right.
You went to jazz school?
Yeah, briefly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jazzy bass player. Do you play with a fretless bass?
No, I don't play fretless. I play 6-string though. So.
He plays a fucking 6-string, man. He
Big
puts
guitar.
us to
Yeah,
shame.
big guitar, yeah.
Besides this new material that you're working on, what's next for you guys?
Ooh, well, we've got to actually do a proper tour for a change. Like,
Yeah, I
actually
think
get
as far
us
as we're
together.
concerned with this next release, like it's just going to open us up for so many opportunities.
That's what we think. We really believe in what we're doing, you know, like, and it's up to you what you think about it, but like, we think it's going to be good. And we've got, me and Ben have a lot of riffs lying around. Like, I'm not running as much, but he's got a lot, so like, the sound will definitely change again. Like, it's going to be different,
Yeah.
but like, it'll still be us, like, same
And it will be
band.
more cohesive as well, because I think, like I said, that whole Between Worlds EP was about like experimenting, coming together as a band, and now that we are established, we've
Yeah.
got an album, it's all recorded, so close to coming out. I think it's just going to be like the start of the snowball, which just builds up and gets us that momentum to kind of, like I said, go on to bigger things.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Sorry, Mr. Set.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much. Listen to this guy's podcast. He's the man.